For the next 100 days, I will be staying on this awesome looking deserted island with this group of morons in hardcore, with the goal of surviving 100 days and transforming this island into a beautiful paradise. Let's begin. We're starting this adventure off on day 0, and like any good start to a Minecraft world, we need to get our hands on food and tools. I immediately checked the perimeter of the island to look for sugarcane. Thankfully, I found some on a farm island near the edge of the village, where I also spotted this blacksmith. And check this chest out. Good chest. Oh my days, what a great chest. Wow, 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 wow. Diamonds immediately. Insane chest. Next job on the list was herding all of the animals on the island to pens and starting them off breeding. By the time I'd gotten the sheep, it was time for sleep. What an incredible start to the island, and look at all the advancements I've made on day 0. Greeted immediately by a skeleton outside my door on day 1, I managed to dispatch him with the help of the sun. Today was more of the same of herding animals into pens. We got the pigs and chickens into a few more pens near the bottom of the island, and then we started on capturing villagers in the houses to make sure that these guys were safe from any zombies at night. I then set out an area for our tree farm, and before I knew it, the day was over. I knew that if we were going to be successful for this 100-day challenge, then I would have to be quick at getting a farm set up. With the iron I had left, I'd made all the tools I would need, and then marked out the tree farm with path blocks to make them planting even easier. Today's biggest task though would be to be punching all the grass I could find so that we could start on our farmland. This is eventually going to become the heart of the island, giving life to all of the animals, the villagers, and more importantly ourselves. I even managed to grab some crops from the small crop farm and add them to the field. I finished the day by breeding some sheep and some cows and then headed to sleep. Today I'm starting off by exploring the nearby ocean where I can see a shipwreck just off the coast of our island. What have we got in the loot chest? Oh, that's a good loot chest. That is a mighty good loot chest. We've got a clock. We'll take the clock. We'll take the paper as well. And have we got anything? Just potatoes, carrots. So many poison potatoes there. Oh, no moss though. That is sad. It was worth it just for the emeralds alone, but quite a sad haul in the end. With that huge disappointment, I headed back to the island and cut down all of our trees that had grown and replanted with fresh saplings. I need to start on a mining area, and I found the perfect location. This area is right below where I've been sleeping, and I think we can turn this into something spectacular in the future. But for now, we need to start with the basics of just digging it out. I was about to start the dig down to our mining levels, but then I quickly realized that I didn't have any ladders on hand. It was also turning into night, and I didn't want to get any nasty creeper drops or surprises. I did spend some time tonight blocking in more villagers and just lighting up some of the village pathways. This island is huge, and eventually we will have to mob proof it. I started off the day by killing a few spiders for some much needed string and marked out a great location for the lighthouse. Then it was time to get back to work on the mine shaft. I headed down to Y14 as this would be the perfect location for mining iron. I eventually broke through into a cave area with good fortune at the right Y level as well. I also found this geode, which will be super handy if we ever need calcite or shards. I also found some iron, made a small mining stop off area with furnaces and barrels, and made another iron pick. I then continued on down as we were heading down towards diamond level now. I spent the whole night digging our way down, and I could tell we were near a cave as I could hear lots of skeletons nearby. I was in for a shock when I uncovered a skeleton spawner of all spawners, which was directly in line with our drop chute. This was such insane luck, and I immediately began to sort out the area, making sure that the spawner area was lit up. Oh, there's a golden apple, and 2 name tags, and some more bread. Oh, and pumpkin seeds, and string. Oh, this is too perfect. How are we so lucky? Oh, dude, and it's a skeleton spawner. I ventured into the cave a little bit, and I could hear a large group of skellies. A few close encounters led me to being super cautious, as it wouldn't take much to kill me right now. Digging through the wall, I accidentally found some diamonds. Oh, how? I didn't even... I didn't mean to even find diamonds. I'm trying to find all these skeletons. Once the joy of that had worn off, I let the skeletons defeat each other and then killed the last remaining one. I was about to go explore the rest of the cave, but this creeper was decided to turn back. I made a full iron set of gear back at the mining stop and then headed back home to sleep. Spent the morning killing some remaining spiders that had spawned and expanding our sugarcane farm as it had grown significantly since our last expansion. I also used some pumpkin seeds that I'd found in the spawner chest to expand our crop farm. Nothing really exciting happened other than tending to our crop farm and getting the last villager, and then getting the last villager inside a house to keep safe from zombies. Had a weird start to the morning when I took way too much damage to this fall and skeleton, which put me on guard a little bit. I also spotted this shipwreck on the other side of the island and decided to go and check it out to see if there was any moss on board. Oh no, but there's bamboo! Oh, that's huge. This is a really good chest. Thank you, thank you. There's no moss, but there's bamboo. Oh, that is massive. I was equally hyped when I spotted this wandering trader and found that he had dark oak saplings as a trade. 2 new wood types within a few minutes really turned this day around, and I got to work immediately cutting down wood and trading sticks with this villager to secure us emeralds. All of today's efforts were to exhaust the wandering trader's stock of dark oak saplings. In fact, all I did today was cut down wood, trade sticks and buy saplings. After finally exhausting this guy's trades, we ended up with 8 saplings, enough for 2 trees. We ended up with a new lead. The other one must have despawned, but I'm happy to have at least one. What a great day. I started day 9 off by taming the trader llamas, which seemed to take way too long. Then I checked on the dark oak tree I'd cut down from the previous day, only to find that it had dropped a meager 3 saplings. I think I'll wait until we get a fortune hoe to take down the other tree. I spotted the island golem looked a little worse for wear, like the true hero I am.
I put out misery.
And collected 3 iron for my troubles. I feel really bad. I then expanded the sugarcane around the rest of the small island. For the rest of the day, I cut down more trees and created a little pen next to the cows for the trader llamas and made a mini llama trader. How adorable. I thought I'd start off by tidying our pathways in the village, making it easier to get around with stairs. However, this didn't last long as the heavens opened up and it began raining all day. I took this as an opportunity to take a fishing rod and some materials down to the crop island and began construction of a small fishing hut. We didn't have enough materials to finish the full cabin, but at least it's safe for now. I spent the entire night into the next morning just enjoying the peaceful moment of fishing. After disposing of a creeper on Crop Island that was trying to trap us, I took down more trees and grabbed a few extra materials to finish off the fishing hut. It looks okay, but I'll need more work done to it to make it look even better in the future. I then finally fixed the stairs to Crop Island, making it much easier to navigate the pathways now. Day 12, we are in desperate need of expansion, so today's big focus was on creating an iron farm. I followed this tutorial by Voltrox. I think we've all seen an iron farm being made, so instead, why don't I ask you to like the video and subscribe if you're really enjoying my content? I greatly appreciate your support, and I'll stop yapping now and take you back to this zombie going into the iron farm. With the zombie secured and this iron golem spawned, it was time to head to bed. With the iron farm done, I had to tackle the overground part, which started with removing this entire villager house and then turning the ground into path blocks to prevent the golems from spawning. I also treated myself to some shiny new tools. I realised that living out of a double chest of junk was doing nothing for me, so I spent a little bit of time organising my belongings. Quickly moving on to breeding our sheep and cows, it was now time to upgrade our food a little bit by eating some high quality free-range steak. The next big task to tackle was the villager trading hall. I want to be ready for when another wandering trader comes along and have all the emeralds on hand, if they want to give us saplings. Started the day off by killing this iron golem which is trapped underground, then got started on feeding our new prisoners, villagers, so that we could have more villagers for jobs. After feeding the cows and having my mind on getting an enchantment table, I released the other 2 villagers trapped in the small house and freed them into our completely enclosed, locked living space. It looks like we've also got a baby in here too. Finding out a golem had spawned in was a big worry, so I managed to trap him in the corner and safely remove him. We got this toolsmith and got him to the iron trading level, which is going to expedite our emerald journey. It was now time to go mining. I needed more materials for all the builds I was going to have to start work on. The problem is that I only have a limited amount of wood, so I'm going to try and get as many different stone types as possible. I ventured further into the cave system and found that it opened up into a bigger area. However, I was a little bit hesitant and headed back, making sure to grab some obsidian for our portal and enchanting setup. I began clearing out the spawner area because we need to get a grinder on the go for bones. This will be an amazing source of XP and bone meal for our island. I managed to uncover some diamonds that were hiding behind the dungeon walls, and once completed, headed back upstairs to grab some more water. Realizing it was nighttime and that the area was infested with mobs, I made a mad dash back to the bed. First order of business was to trade with our toolsmith. I managed to trade him all the way up to get ourselves some new tools. A Fortune 1 pick and a better axe for cutting down trees, which is exactly what I put it to use for. I even cut down the dark oak tree, but again it only produced 3 saplings, which means that this Fortune 1 pick that I used doesn't work. Or at least I don't think it works on saplings. The next thing to do was feed the cows again. These guys are almost ready. Day 19 and 20 all kind of merge into one. Down at Crop Island, I grabbed 2 stacks of sugarcane, which is incredible for such a small area. I told you that these cows were ready. I finally made our enchanting table with the books I had crafted and made 9 bookshelves. We are closing in on our enchanting setup and I can't wait to use it. I decided to give our mining area a bit of an overhaul and began designing an interior for it, fit with chests and furnaces, and ready to hold materials from our mining expeditions. This cost me the entire day 20, but it was completely worth it. With the mine area done for now, I decided it was time for the last cull, and it was just about enough for our remaining 6 bookshelves. The only problem is now that I didn't have enough diamonds left, so I headed back down into the mine and ended up strip mining for the rest of the day, eventually finding 9 diamonds, enough for some armor and tools. With the diamonds, I created some boots, a hoe and a sword and began enchanting our new equipment. It took a few rerolls using the grindstone, but eventually we got a decent enough sword. Sharpness 4 and looting 3. This will be extremely useful for our skeleton grinder when we get it up and running. I spent some more time getting levels from our villagers and decided to put the grindstone to use on a villager, getting a second iron trade. I headed back down to the skelly spawner and finished off the grinder, then spent the rest of the day expanding our branch mine. In fact, I enjoyed myself so much, I spent the entire day 23 down here, expanding the mine and killing skellies. I done some trading early on today and grabbed a few more levels, as I wanted to try my luck at the enchantment gambling station. Today, we had no luck. I was getting really upset with how the villagers were being treated, so I decided to spruce it up a little bit, with each villager having their own private space. I spent the rest of day 25 making sure that the villagers were securely in their new spaces and then gave the Table of Despair another shot. Today we hit the jackpot and got Feather Falling 4 on our boots. I mean, that's the only thing I got on them, but it's a huge enchantment. I'm super happy with it. 25 days in today, and although I have a vague sense of direction of what we're doing, I wanted to solidify a plan. So I took some time at the end of the day to make a task board near the hub of the island so that we can keep a track of what we're doing. Okay, our tasks. Got to finish the trading hall, build a barn, big crop fields. Yeah, that's a huge one. Then we got to make the island safe, build a church, a windmill, build a lighthouse, make a harbor, and build a storage room. Okay, I think the easiest one to start with will be the crop fields. So let's go and find a place for that. Reviewing our tasks on the board, I was feeling motivated, so I took on the biggest challenge I saw. I started off by shaping the terrain and filling in holes. By the next day, I'd made it over to the church and began removing it. We have 3 of these on the island, and I've got plans to revamp one of them. By the time I took the church down, it had turned to night, and we started moving on to the 3rd day of the crop fields. I spent a lot of day 28 just making pathways and breaking this shovel as best as I could. Realizing our shovel was on its last legs of durability, I decided to try and sort out a librarian with mending. I'd had quite a few issues with trying to get these villagers to breed, but eventually I sorted it out. Anyway, I locked in for the grind of my life, ready to spend the next 30 minutes or days waiting to get mending. What? No way! The first book I put down is... There's no way. That's incredible. Oh my days. I cannot believe that. No way. Yeah, I can't believe my luck either. Next on the list though is Fortune. This one took a lot longer to get, especially trying to wrangle this villager into this tiny box to make it easier to recycle the trades. After a while, we secured Fortune 3. stuck it on our hoe, and then tried our luck at getting some dark oak saplings. We ended up with 11 from this one tree. We are back in business, baby. With this great turn of events, it was time to go back to the fields and get them finished off. It didn't take long for the rain to start today, but that wasn't going to stop play. I was in a good flow, enjoying creating these fields, and then a thunderstorm. I thought things might be okay. We could just continue, but the amount of mobs that were spawning was starting to worry me, so I threw myself under the covers. Got way too close to this witch, which ended up hitting me with a big old bottle of poison. I was so on edge with my heart going lower and lower, so I stayed away for the time being. Spent the rest of the day finishing the paths and fields, and I think it's starting to look incredible. We just need to get more durability on my shovel, and we're in desperate need of more dirt. Using the iron trades to fix up the shovel, it helped a little bit, but it didn't make too much of a dent. The best thing to do was head back to the chute, into the mines, and repair the shovel. Whilst I was down here, I also combined our 2 pickaxes and the books we had on us to create an incredible Fortune 3 pick. I completely forgot to bring down some mending books for our tools. I ended up going up and grabbing a stack of logs as well. Down at the diamond level, I made this lovely cozy little mining setup. As of right now, I'm on the hunt for more diamonds to complete our diamond armor set. So I got to work on digging out the rest of our tunnel, which went on into day 35. In fact, all I did today was dig this entire tunnel out. How exciting. I have what I call the 2-dig method. I mine the first 5 blocks in front of me, I move further into the mine, and I do it again and place a torch. This is the best method that works for me. I also space out my branches by 2 blocks. How do you do your branch mining? Anyway, this method really paid off when I found this incredible diamond ore vein with 14 blocks in it. Oh my days, the size of this! It's 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14. What? I finished up digging out what I needed and placed the blocks in our handy new station. In total, I have found 70 diamonds, all thanks to this Fortune 3 pickaxe from this session, which, in retrospect, was well worth the investment. For the rest of the next few days, I grinded levels at the Skelly spawner. Let me tell you, this thing is slow, but we get a lot of bones from it, which I can't complain about. After 2 days at the spawner, I was happy to make a move upstairs with tools mostly mended. Spent some time getting a little bit more XP at the prisoner trading hall. With the remaining levels, I spent them at the gambling machine and plucked out a nice shovel, and then upgraded our armor to full diamond. I hadn't forgotten the task of the crop fields, honestly, so I headed back to complete it so we could get it off the board. Here's a lovely time lapse of me hoeing and planting a full field of seeds. Moving over onto the next field, I decided on this cool design. A main pathway with smaller little paths off it and carrots placed alongside it. I haven't hydrated this crop field yet. I most likely will, but for now it will stay dry. I decided today that we finish this crop farm. So I built a nether portal, grabbed my safety gear and headed inside. You didn't think I was going to get easily distracted, did you? Anyway, I was up for an adventure and some new blocks. Spawning in a crimson forest is always super scary. I have my gold boots on to keep us safe from the piglins, but the hoglins are the biggest threat. Like the coward I am, I headed on top of the trees and made my way around to a soul sand valley. I was on the lookout for a nether fortress. I want to get some nether wart and hopefully some decent loot. I spotted this ghast and with precise aim, I took it down with my first shot. Somehow, I managed to spot this nether fortress out of the crimson forest and headed inside. It wasn't too busy, as I think the majority of the spawns were inside the Crimson Forest itself. I went through a few chests and got some really nice loot, took on the odd blaze, and ended up at this blaze spawner, where I fled at the first sign of fire. There was no way I was going to try and take this on without fire res. Luckily, I found an easier accessible spawner, so I dispatched these guys with ease. I had the idea of going home, but got distracted by wither skellies. In fact, I just ended up chasing down a whole bunch of these guys, and my reward was met with 2 wither skelly skulls. My luck felt like it was running out, so instead of wasting more time with spawns, I headed back to the portal. After depositing all of our goods in our cramped house, I eased into our day with collecting wood, and then took the soul sand we had collected down to the mine. I wanted to upgrade our mining system, and this was the perfect opportunity. I spent a decent amount of time just making these elevators, which will save us some time from climbing a ladder down at diamond level. After I finished the mine upgrades, I'd noticed that our coal supply was running low, This is also a great opportunity to grab more dirt. I started a small strip mine at the iron level and found a few coal veins, eventually mining into this big ravine type of cave. There wasn't much here, so I grabbed the last few bits of coal and headed back out up to the surface. Today was potato day. I wanted to try to keep this one true to life a little bit with having them in proper rows. This is such a small space, but I tried to maximize the space the best I could. Happy with our efforts, it was time to free the iron golem from its captivity. There was no way I was going to trap anything on this island against its will. Apart from the animals, of course. After removing the church, I had 30 levels ready to use. Not that the church gave me any XP, I just realized I had XP to use. Anyway, another spin on the roulette of bad enchantments, and this time our helmet gave us aqua affinity. No, that's it, literally. The last field to complete was, of course, everyone's favorite crop, the beetroot. I actually ran out of durability on my hoe during this, so I had to use our boys in the completely enclosed locked living space. I had this great idea to add an oak tree into the field. I always think these look great, stood out in the middle. These big ones typically take a while to grow, but not today. This guy grew instantly, and at a good size too. We'll add more things as we go, but for now, let's focus on getting the crops completed so we can take this task off our board and move on to the next project. With our fields now complete, we could finally take the task off the board. This felt like a good step in the right direction, but I realized we needed to add one more task to the board, a mining outpost, to make what we've built already even better. I spent some time gathering wood and then started planning out an area for our barn. Having our animals organized in one space would make things a lot easier when planning out other builds on the island. I really struggled getting the right palette for this build. It took me a little bit of time to get the right layout as well, but I eventually settled on something that would work. I normally build on a much bigger scale, and building in survival was a bit of a new challenge for me. After what felt like not much progress today, I got my head down. I'm ready for day 50, halfway through the challenge now, and I feel like I've made so much progress, but we are still so far away from where we need to be. I actually headed back down to the mine, only to grab some calcite though, and a little bit of tuff. I think this combo is going to work really well. In fact, by the end of the day, I was fully convinced that I'd made the right choice. I had a mega grind session on the build today. I'd added all the stables and put a section in for the house. I really felt like this was only going to be a matter of time before it got finished. Sometimes with a build, you just need to keep seeing it all the way through. You've got to push past that ugly phase. Reviewing the work from a distance in the morning, I realized what needs to be done next. I fixed my focus on the barn house section, and by the end of the day, we had a better looking house. We are literally on the cusp of this project being complete. The calcite and tuff are a great combination, which is something I didn't think would work at first, but I'm convinced now. But maybe that's just me that thinks that. Anyway, I got invested in spending more time just trying to figure out the interior for this place. I might end up expanding the entire house, but I also need to sort out the terrain at the back before I do that. I got the pesky little chickens into one of the barn pens, and now they're having the time in their life. Moving over the sheep and the cows took the majority of the day. At least now all of our animals are in the barn. I got our 2 horses on the island into the barn to roam out in the front. They need a lot more space, so they just get to chill outside. I made sure our boys had some sick armor that we had found in the Nether fortress the other day. These guys are looking fancy. I took the barn off our task board, as we can call this project done for the time being. I used this method to make these big oak trees as well. 3 fence posts on top of each other and a sapling next to it, then just bone meal it. This works like an absolute charm, as shown by these big boys. I'm really wanting a wandering trader to come by, but I fear that the amount of path blocks and farmland we have are preventing it from any spawn attempts. For the time being, I worked down in the cells to get ourselves some stonemasons. I ended up with 3, and trading the emeralds with bricks opens up an entire new line of decoration. Eventually, these guys will open up a whole new branch of blocks as well. Most of the day, I just spent trading. I actually slept in the middle of a field next to the bell in hopes that in the morning a trader would spawn. No, it didn't work. I'm quite sad about it. I don't think this guy is ever going to come, so I've made a huge executive decision. I was hoping that we would get some new wood types from a trader. I really want spruce or moss, so I decided that I get to leave the island. The stipulations I put on myself: I can only go in one direction, and I have to be back on my island before the next morning. So I set sail on a brand new adventure. It took way too long to find some land, and when I did, it only had birch. Who even wants that? I spotted this shipwreck and dived in. Honestly, the best find in this front chest: a single moss block. I can't tell you how much this felt like a game changer. Not too far away from the shipwreck though, I found this island, and slowly it came into focus. snow, signifying that there won't be spruce too far away, and I was right. By the time I got up to the trees, the villagers were heading to bed. I didn't have much time left, and so with a single spruce sapling, I made haste. As I travelled frantically back through the night, I was jump scared by this guardian idiot. Chased by a trident guy, I eventually made it back to my island after overshooting it a little bit and having to come back around. I landed on Crop Island and went immediately to sleep. The first order of business was to get these spruce trees on the go. We were going to want lots of this wood, and the quickest way to get more is using our completely battered fortune hoe, which netted us enough for a big spruce. I noticed this small cave entrance. I could hear an enderman. I tried to free this guy, which he promptly teleported away, and then he gave me a massive jump scare, and I even threw my mouse. After dealing with this idiot, I went back to the tree cutting and collected some sand for some concrete for a future project. These next few days, I spent working on a new project, the windmill. I got the main tower constructed and was interrupted by a couple of these morons. I completely forgot these guys even existed, as this was the first time they'd even spawned in on the island. Anyway, after realizing I wasn't as strong as I thought, I managed to get a Bad Omen 2 potion from them and headed back to building. I worked out a nice roof shape and then spent an entire day trying to figure out the shape of a windmill blade. I've made these in the past, but only in creative, so doing it only in survival mode made it a fresh new challenge for me. By the morning of day 62, I felt like I'd made great effort in making this windmill. I did a little bit of interior decorating and added a little lean-to on the outside, but we'll come back and add more little details in the future. But for now, we can take this task off the board and start on something we desperately need: a storage room. Just as I was going to bed, I heard the noise that I'd been waiting for 50 days. The wandering trader had arrived, and he had some nice trades. Of course, the first order of business today was to get this guy's wares, and I was made up to see that he had acacia saplings for sale. Having another new wood type is great, even if it is a pain to get. Anyway, I traded for the saplings, blue ice, rooted dirt, and the azure blue A. I don't know what I'm going to use them for, but I'm sure we can find something. We got this guy's leads and tied with the llamas. I'd gotten rid of the other ones as I was convinced that they were keeping the guy from spawning, but turns out I was wrong. Time for the storage project now. I had no real plan other than having lots and lots of chests. I marked out an area and began building up the sides in rough shape. By the end of the day, we had a good direction to go in. Before continuing on with the build, I wanted to keep our llama guys. After taming these guys, it was straight back to the build. I'm going for a classic barn look, as these eaves off the side of this will be able to hold a lot of chests. I've decided I want to add windows into the side of this build. So, going with these mud walls allows me to put a little bit of depth into the build, and I think they look good. After finishing off both eaves, I needed glass for the windows, so set about getting our librarian to a higher level, allowing us to get that glass trade. This should also help prevent the island from getting completely destroyed. I've got my mind on a future project this morning, so I went off to grab some carrots to get a few more baby villagers. That's when I spotted this golem beating the life out of this gold-plated skelly. What a lovely start to the morning. After feeding our villagers, I went back to the storage base, and now it was time to get the walls finished. I added in this lovely stripped dark oak trim. I started putting in some chests in the eaves as well. I've gone with a deep slate floor, not the cobbled variety, but actual deep slate. I love the look of this pattern with a cobbled deep slate border. It will look excellent. And spent a little bit of time moving some key items in. We're going to have to organize this at some point, but that point isn't right now. Realizing I had some levels on my hotbar, I gave the Wheel of Fortune a spin, and I got this really nice Silk Touch pick. This is something that I had completely forgotten to get up until now, and I'm glad we've managed it. After faffing around for far too long with moving items, I got back to work on the build, but unfortunately the night crept in too quickly and I ended up getting too scared and went to sleep. I finished off the rest of the chest today and got to work on getting this place complete. With this little top section on, we can call it finished. The only thing that we need to do now is to start making this area tidy on the outside. I got rid of the remnants of the old tree farm and grew this beautiful big tree. And then joined Team Trees and planted lots of saplings around the island. I still need lots of logs, and this is an easy way to A, make the place look great, and B, have some function. The big thing of today, other than the storage build being complete, was getting the cartographer. However, I couldn't make it before nightfall, so I squeezed in among these guys. I need a cartographer for our lighthouse build, but most importantly, we need a specific cartographer. One that will sell us a trial chamber map. This took most of today up, as I had to go to Crop Island and raid the last little bit of our stores for any remaining paper and sugarcane. Eventually though, we managed to get our guy after 3 attempts. The other 2 can sit in the holes for the time being. Before I head off to the trial chamber, I want to get our lighthouse build done. This required a trip into the Nether to grab a few things. Netherrack mainly, and some of this Nether warp block stuff. I don't know. I got chased by this mini hoglin who came through to the overworld with us. I stuck the guy in a boat for safekeeping. We can make him his own little space somewhere. I decided to spend the rest of the day gathering materials I needed for the lighthouse. This build I am really excited for, as I haven't made a lighthouse for a long time. In fact, let's just cut straight to the time lapse. There was only one key element missing from this build, our cartographer. I really want to put villages in our builds. It's not exactly safe to do so right now, but hopefully by the end of the 100 days, it will be. Anyway, we got this guy in here and I think he's made up. Before we head off to the chamber, I made sure to get some enchantments, blast protection on the pants, and this insane bow. I was happy with Infinity, but even more happier with the rest of this bow. This should definitely come in handy in the chamber. I set sail for the chamber, map in hand from our cartographer, ready to face whatever comes our way. The map led us to this point in the ocean, where I had to dig down. I had a little bit of a panic moment when it dropped down into another water cave. Luckily, we found some coal on the wall, and I began digging down further and was confused why I was going so far down. I lit up the area and I could see the top of the chamber. Breaking in, we were immediately met by this spawner, which I took on cautiously. I've forgotten about this new mob, the Bogged, I think it is, and it was an absolute pest to deal with. I dispatched the last one with ease, and then got ourselves our first trial key. Is that it? Yes, there we go. Oh, chicken, just what I need. Oh, just regular zombies, I think. You know what? I'm glad there's no, like, creeper spawns. Okay, so we got chicken from that one, and what did we get? Bread. Wonderful. Oh, we got a trial key there. I just seen that. Yo, there's a chest here. I think I can hear the blaze. I'm just gonna stick some stuff we don't actually need. What's this room looking like? Aha. Aha. There he is. There's the moron. Oh, I forgot. We gotta actually... Oh, that's a bad combination. Ooh. Oh! Uh-oh. There's another spawner right there. No, this is stress. Oh, sniped. Oh, it's just another silverfish spawner. I can deal. Where's the blaze guy? Oh, silverfish behind us. Stupid little morons. Oh my days. Our armor isn't that great either. Oh. Where's that? Stupid. Oh, morons. Okay, I want to try and use these keys. Oh, what are you? Projectile protection? Useful in here. Piercing crossbow? You know what? We will take it. For the rest of the trial chamber, we just went exploring. I was just on the lookout for more loot. More keys equals more loot. And more spawners equal more keys. So I was just on the lookout for more things to fight. There was this one tricky room with lots and lots of skeletons. And by the end of it, I looked like a porcupine. But there was one thing that I didn't tell you. For those with keen eyes, you may have spotted it already, but I had brought the bad omen potion with me, and I was going to use it like the utter moron I am. Now this could have been fatal for me, but I am always prepared to cheese anything I can whilst playing hardcore. The one thing that I completely forgot about was these potions that drop on you all the time. I don't even know what they are, but they are stressful and they make so much noise. Here's some live action of me fighting lots of stupid things. Oh, these guys are so strong. What type of armor is that? That's my good bow as well. Oh, it feels like I'm fighting a ghost. Do not want to die to silverfish. That would be embarrassing. Oh, these noises are so spooky. Okay, I'm on fire. No need. Oh, that noise is stressing me out. It feels like I'm cheesing it a little bit, but these guys are strong. Yes! It's exactly what we want. An ominous trial key. Let's see if we can get any more. Oh my gosh. I've got about 1 million particles all around me. Oh gosh, there's so many still. They're all fighting each other. We're gonna go to the next one. How's our armor looking? How we we look like a porcupine. This is ridiculous. Okay, ominous trial key. Here goes nothing. Oh! Ah, no heavy core. But we did get a notch apple. That's pretty cool. I'm taking these red candles. You know what? I had a load of fun doing that then. I wish we got a bit more better loot, but I'm still happy. It was time to take a bit of a breather after a few days of intense fighting. I put a few of our cooler items up on display, along with our buried treasure map and our trial map, and with our notch apple taking pride right in the center. For the rest of the day, I just put things away. Before we even begin our next projects, we need to make sure all our tools are in good order. That includes my hoe, which was in desperate need of attention. So I headed down to our little skeleton farm and got all the XP we needed to take it back up to maximum health. This took an entire day. This single moss block is about to demolish our branch mine. Let me explain. Bone mealing moss blocks is one of my favourite things to do in survival. Eating up the ground and then tearing it all back down with a hoe. There's not much else that is this satisfying. By the time I demolished the mine, my hoe was back down to half health. So I took a little bit more time back at the spawner to fix it up, and then headed to stone level to get some more stone with our brand new Silk Touch pick. We've got a lot of work to do, and we're going to need a lot of this material. Not much happened today, so I spent some time going through and getting tough. I also combined our Silk Touch pick with one that has efficiency and unbreaking. I wanted to cover up our iron farm a little bit, so I decided that it'd be cool to make some ruins around it. I used a mixture of stone, tuff, moss, and mossy cobblestone. I also made a little rock on the other side of the path. This is the entrance into the collection point. I left the backside open so there was ample access. I wanted to make a start on the church. This place is going to hold our enchanting table rather than having it stuck out in the rain. Can't tell you how long it took me to realize that this top area was not the place for the church. I'd chosen the smallest plot of land thinking that I could maybe do some terraforming, but I eventually decided to move it down. This was a far better location and there was very little terraforming to do. I had a rough shape for this build and an idea for the block palette, so I set to work on the main tower. I built late into the night and then continued the next day, getting the bulk of the work done. By day 84, the outside of the build was complete, and I could set my sights on the interior. I went with a dark oak border and spruce flooring. I had to stop for a tree cutting session, and then built up a platform at the back of the church in the main tower section. This is going to house our enchantment table, which we got straight into setting up, and then adding a few little details to give it a cozier vibe, including a grindstone to disenchant gear, these candles from the trial chamber, this lectern to serve as an altar for the churchgoers, then lining the aisle with these flower pots with azalea shrubs, quite possibly my favourite potted plant. I even added an amethyst crystal to give it a nice pop of colour and mystery. I tried it on the beams, but honestly it looked terrible. I removed the old villager house in front of the church as it was blocking the entrance, and then set about a completely new task, adding signs to all of our chests in the storage room. Talk about a change of subject. Although this had been bugging me for quite some time, and I wanted to make sure we were organised for the future. Moving back to one of the projects we've already completed, I returned to the lighthouse to finish up the terrain. This is going to completely transform the look of the area and will definitely enhance the look of the lighthouse. When I'm terraforming, I tend to go with the same shapes and mismatch the heights on each slice. This is a really simple way to mimic rocky terrain. I'd managed to get the work done by the end of the day, and found a wandering trader had spawned outside our storage area. There were some decent trades on offer, including a cactus. Taking the pace from the previous day, I continued with some terraforming next to the church. It felt weird to have this big structure on what looked like an unstable surface, so I added in this rocky wall alongside it to give it a sense of structure and purpose. Once completed, I planted in a wheat field alongside the path to our lighthouse. This has been a vision of mine since we located this outcropping all the way back on day 4. For the rest of the night, I started on lighting the island up with moss carpet hiding torches. I was wondering what to do with the land out front of the storage area, and then I thought about the pumpkins we had. This is the only crop that didn't have its own field, so I set about making a little patch for them. I think this turned out quite cute. Sometimes it's the small details that carry the builds. Still not satisfied with my terraforming itch, I set my sights on a little bit bigger project, the barn. When I was coming back from the trail chamber, I noticed that this thing was just hanging off the edge. I spent a good portion of the day making this, and of course, we ran out of stone, so I had to make a stop at the iron level to mine. I'm quite pleased with the end result of this as well. This island still isn't safe enough, so I made this design for some lampposts. Listen, I'm not reinventing the wheel here, just changing the block palette. All seen these types of designs before. I think they're cool and add a lot of interest to the pathways. Plus, it keeps us safe as night, form and function. And this continued into day 90 as well. I found this trader guy at the top of the mining outpost, took his wares, took his leads, and took his llamas. These guys are going to be mine forever now. I took down our original house at the very top of the hill, and the fences that once housed our cows and first llamas. A somewhat poignant moment. I paid the cartographer a visit, only to be stunned to find him not there at all. Oh, no, wait, no, never mind. He was hiding upstairs. This guy is never going to come down. I knew that one of the menial tasks on my list was the pathways, so I set about just making sure everywhere was accessible by stairs and slabs. I tamed the llamas we had gotten the day before. Although doing so started a bit of a fight between the two of them, I left the area hoping that they're both still alive when I get back. The rest of the day I spent just tidying up the tree area. I took down the old blacksmith house that was on the way to Crop Island. This had been a game changer on our first day with a great chest of loot. We are going to upgrade this with a new blacksmith house, and honestly, this one looks great. I returned to see if the llama massacre had occurred, and thankfully not. These guys had managed to sort it out between themselves. So, I set on a brand new task that wasn't even on the board. I covered this huge hole with coarse earth and erected a massive llama statue. This place is our llama sanctuary. And I honestly think it's amazing that I managed to make this statue in one go. Nearing the end now, there was only one area left for me to sort out. The house that kept us safe and housed all our wares for the majority of these 100 days. I set about turning this into a log cabin type of build. I want this to serve as a hub for the tree cutting area, which is just down the hill. The only problem I faced with this build was the amount of diamonds that I managed to spew everywhere when breaking down the chests and barrels. Eventually though, we managed to create a lovely little log cabin. I even used these copper grates as windows, and I gotta say, I love them. And the last 2 days, I just spent making sure that the world we have created so far, and then on day 99, I went to bed for the final time. I want to say like the last 25 days have been absolutely wild. I've literally built so much. Probably haven't built enough, it feels like, but let's go for a little tour. This, I believe, is this where we spawned in? Maybe we spawned in down there. I can't quite remember. But this, I've just made into a little area for a little garden. This was the first house we stayed in right here. It's gone now. And then we put our cows and we put our cows over here and our llama trader llamas over there, which are now in the llama sanctuary down there. Looking very snazzy. In fact, let's go and have a look at that. Let's have a little walk through. So we've got our ruins over here for our iron farm. The way we get in is just down here. Yep, it's still backed up. You know what? Let's just let those puppies despawn. Okay, and then we've got Good Time Chopping. This is now our new house. We haven't moved in yet. There's still boxes to unpack. I forgot one little detail. In fact, I haven't even hung our painting up yet. No, not that one. That's ridiculous. There we go. Yeehaw, baby. In fact, let's put our desk under there. So, our task board. Make a harbor. That's the only one I didn't do. Make the island pretty. Oh, build a mining outpost. We've already done that, so I'm going to take that off the board. Make the island safe. It's safe enough. And the final one was make the island pretty. I'm going to take that off the list. I think we did. Okay, down here, this is our tree growing area. I quite like this. It's very busy. I quite like that. It's quite nice. And then this path leads over to the Nether portal, which we didn't actually get around to decorating, but I think the area is fine. And then we've got, of course, our llama sanctuary with all our llamas and our massive llama statue. I done this freehand completely. I quite like it. It's very silly. Which then bends round into our mining area. Now, this is one of the first things we built here on this island. It is, yeah, it's not the greatest. It doesn't look great anyway. We've got our storage here. I never actually finished this. This is meant to bring all our items in and then just put them in the chests. Maybe we'll get round to it another day. We've got our smelting area and a small little bit of storage. And then as we turn right out, We loop back around to the ruins where the iron farm is. Excuse me, sir. How have you spawned out? And then this is my favorite. I think this is my favorite build of the entire place. The lighthouse. I came in here a few days ago and I was like, where is our guy? He's just chilling up there. If you're wondering how he doesn't get out, I put a trapdoor here and I put this on like that weird angle. And then we've got our storage barn and windmill and church and pumpkin patch. The pumpkin patch, I think this is really cute. That's it. The storage barn, I could probably change a few things, maybe a bit of texturing on the eaves of the roof. But inside, it's my favorite place. There's one other thing I want to add to this wall. There's one tool I found. That is day 0 pickaxe right there. Yeah, there we go. Perfect. Nice. Okay. Oh, I probably didn't explain either. That dead bush, we got that in the trial chamber. We got the enchanting church on our left here. And our crop fields. This took ages. This took longer than most builds. Our windmill, I'm really happy with how these blades came out, considering I've just done it in survival. Like, I didn't even do anything here in creative. Apart from that one, I'd planned out already, which is the blacksmith. And a really basic interior. I might come back through and finish them all up. The enchanting church, I think this might be my favorite interior I've done. I've actually put some paintings in as well. I don't know why. I think they look cool. And then we've got here, the roof could do with tidying up, but yes, inside we've got our enchanting setup here. With all the crystals and the grindstone, barrels for storage, and a little lectern to speak to the people, even though there's no one here. But I really like how this turned out. And then, of course, the blacksmith, which isn't occupied at the minute, but will be. There's meant to be some leaves up here. We'll put them in. It's quite a cozy interior. Or it will be once it's fully furnished. And then, of course, we've got Crop Island with our little fishing hut, which I never went back and finished. Honestly, there's so much I could have done. Then we've got this place. I never got really around to finishing the rest of the trading hall. This is maybe a future project if we decide to do another 100 days. And then we've got, of course, our barn. This was our first big build, I want to say, and I think it turned out all right. We didn't have any spruce at the time, and I actually used barrels here, but the back end of the bottom of the barrel right there has a different texture. Oh wow, we've done so much in this 100 days. Like, this is a big island to take on as a task, and I'm surprised that I actually managed to get it all done in 100 days. But what is your favorite build of this? For me personally, I think it's this. It looks fantastic. I think it's one of my favorite builds I've done for a while. It's dead simple, but I think it might just be the coloring. We have one task to write. But guys, that is going to be it. What do we reckon? Another 100 days? No. No. Oh. Great. Just gonna leave him to it.